This is CBC Vancouver News.
Less than 12 hours after Air Canada flight attendants walked off the job, Ottawa is ordering them back to work, but union members are not happy.
It is disgusting. I am truly appalled at this decision.
And
even as we see improvements with the fire and smaller growth than we've been seeing in the past, we want our community to continue to follow the situation.
much needed rain is giving firefighters on Vancouver Island the upper hand. It comes as an evacuation order and alert are lifted for residents impacted by one of two fires burning near Port Alberni. Also,
our viewership of the WNBA has actually, the regular season games have doubled over the past 5 years.
More than 15,000 fans came out to celebrate women in sport as the WNBA plays its first regular season game outside the U.S. Hello, thanks for joining us. The federal government has intervened in the Air Canada labor dispute with its flight attendants. Jobs Minister Patty Hajdu says Ottawa is sending the labor dispute to arbitration after workers hit the picket lines at major Canadian airports. Philip Lee Shannock reports.
Defiance on the picket line outside Pearson International Airport in Toronto.
Now is not the time to take risks with our economy.
Saying the two sides were clearly at an impasse, Jobs Minister Patty Hajdu invoked Section 107 of the Canadian Labour Code to order binding arbitration between the airline and its union. It means operations will restart, although it's not clear when the 10,000 flight attendants will return to work.
A work stoppage would cause thousands of Canadians to be stranded abroad and across this country, and this is simply unacceptable.
Patty Hajdu, shame on you.
The flight attendants union, CUPE, says Ottawa has rewarded Air Canada for not bargaining in good faith. It rejected the employer's last request for binding arbitration. One of the main issues is unpaid labor. The union says attendants are owed for duties performed before and after a plane takes off and lands.
We are the national carrier, and we have people operating in poverty. That's disgusting. That's very problematic. So the company needs to be willing to address those things.
Labor experts say the federal government has set precedents at the ports and with the railways that they're more willing to send disputes to arbitration if they decide a work stoppage will impact the economy.
If parties want a freely negotiated collective agreement, I think they're going to have to be much more malleable, much more flexible in terms of what the collective agreement looks like in order to get a freely negotiated agreement. And they're not going to be able to use a lockout or a strike as leverage.
But for more than 100,000 people impacted by flight cancellations, some stranded abroad with few options to get back home, having the flight attendants return to work is welcome news.
We only have so much medication here with us on this trip. We did bring more medication than we anticipated that we'd need, but then with the strike action, we're bumping up against our we need to get home date.
But that relief comes at a price. Labor advocates say the rights of workers to withhold their labor is a basic tenet of collective bargaining. That is, the hard-fought right to strike is under threat. Philip Lee Shannock, CBC News, Mississauga, Ontario.
Here in Vancouver, hundreds of Air Canada flight attendants demonstrated outside YVR today. The strike prompting a warning for passengers to avoid the airport unless you have a confirmed booking on a different airline. Shaurya Chhetri has more.
We're heading to Newark, New Jersey. Well, actually, that was our original intent.
Rick Ham's travel plans are being thrown off course. He says it's been a stressful experience.
My wife in particular is not a good flyer. In fact, this is the first time in 44 years she's flown. So to have this type of upset for her specifically is just very upsetting.
Now Ham and his family have to take a shuttle to Seattle to catch a new flight.
We're going to fly out of Seattle this evening, going to San Diego, and then staying overnight in the airport and then going from San Diego to JFK.
He's one of thousands of passengers scrambling to make alternate plans.
I find flights, but I don't know if Air Canada is going to cover them. And they are a lot more expensive.
Yeah, we're going to live here at the airport today, I think, though.
Outside Vancouver International Airport, more than 600 Air Canada flight attendants walk this picket line, condemning the federal government's move, ordering them back to work.
It is disgusting. I am truly appalled at this decision.
Unifor, Canada's largest private sector union, says the government's intervention tells federally regulated employers not to bother bargaining fairly because the government will step in. This interim federal NDP leader agrees.
I think it's utterly disgraceful and frankly shameful, but unfortunately not surprising. I've seen the Liberal government use Section 107 repeatedly to violate workers' right to free collective bargain, and
unpaid work is among the main sticking points in negotiations. Union members say many entry-level flight attendants are forced to live in RVs parked at the airport because of low starting wages.
There is a handful of our flight attendants that live below the poverty line, scrape by to pay their bills.
Air Canada says it's offering alternate travel arrangements for affected passengers, but some say rebooking hasn't been easy.
Unfortunately, when I tried to use the rebooking feature on the website, it repeatedly sent back that there were no flights available.
Instead, passengers like Flanagan are being redirected toward refund requests, something advocates are urging them not to accept too quickly.
Then I would buy a ticket on a competitor airline and then send Air Canada the bill with a demand for payment within 30 days.
The union says they haven't been legislated back to work yet. Until then, the strike will go on. Shaurya Chetri, CBC News, Vancouver.
Homicide investigators say a body found in a burned-out vehicle near Chilliwack belongs to a young Surrey man and is believed to be linked to the ongoing BC gang conflict. Police today identifying the victim as 22-year-old Hamza Fazil. His body was found in a vehicle on Cheam Road in Popcom on July 27th. iHit says police are trying to build a timeline of Fazil's activities prior to the homicide. They are asking anyone with dashcam footage to contact them. Police in Vancouver say a 55-year-old man is dead after he was hit by a taxi Friday night in the city's downtown core. In a statement, the department says it happened at Smythe and Canby Streets around 10 p.m. The man died in hospital. Police say the taxi driver suffered minor injuries and remained at the scene. Police are asking anyone with information to come forward. Mounties in Nanaimo are asking the public for help finding two missing people. These are recent photos of Robert Stalker and Julie DeMeyer. Police say they were last heard from on July 20th. Stalker's family reported him missing earlier this week. The pair are believed to be traveling on board a white sailboat named the Calliope. Anyone with information is asked to contact Nanaimo RCMP. Much needed rain has fallen on Vancouver Island. Earlier tonight, the Regional District of Nanaimo rescinded an evacuation order and alert for properties threatened by the Wesley Ridge fire. But the Mount Underwood fire continues to burn out of control, keeping the small city of Port Alberni on edge. Julia Wong has more.
Recent rainfall is making a difference for firefighters tackling a wildfire burning 8 kilometers from Port Alberni. As of Saturday morning, 33 millimeters of rain has fallen over the Mount Underwood wildfire, according to the BC Wildfire Service. While the fire has grown to more than 36 square kilometers, officials say moisture has dampened fire behavior and slowed growth. The BC Wildfire Service is taking advantage of the rain and of cooler temperatures. They've been able to identify the fire's perimeter and get crews closer to the fire. 168 firefighters and 11 helicopters are fighting the flames. Officials say the majority of the wildfire is now down to a ground fire, a change from just a couple days ago.
There's still lots of heat in the ground, and that's what our crews are doing, is to expose that heat, ensuring that we discover all the fire and be thorough. That's really the key here, is just making sure that we're thorough as we move around the fire and reduce the potential for further spread if and when it does warm up again.
Even as we see improvements with the fire and smaller growth than we've been seeing in the past, we want our community to continue to follow the situation, be aware, be alert, have a plan in place, download the Voyant Alert and register if you haven't, and just continue to be really engaged with this situation in case it does change.
Several evacuation orders and alerts are in place for the community, and no changes are being made to any of them. The BC Wildfire Service says as the risk from the wildfire goes down, things could change, something many are hoping for with more rain in the forecast. Julia Wong, CBC News, near Port Alberni, British Columbia.
BC's south coast was hit by an unseasonable downpour Friday, and Environment Canada says 4 weather stations, including Vancouver Airport, broke rainfall records.
I think with this one in particular, it's just kind of the unusual nature of the heavy rainfall that we are seeing. So it is more typical of a fall storm. And while we're not particularly concerned about flood risk per se with this event, we know that there's a lot more vulnerability, particularly with backcountry recreation and that kind of thing that happens in the summer.
Estimates from the weather agency show high rainfall amounts throughout the region, including more than 123 millimeters of rain in the Sea to Sky region, as well as 95.4 millimeters in Coquitlam. Meteorologists estimate Vancouver Airport saw 43.2 millimeters of rain on Friday, shattering a record set in 1912. Abbotsford recorded 55.8 millimeters of rain, where the previous record was 18 millimeters, and West Vancouver recorded 80.6 millimeters of rain, breaking the previous 38.4 millimeter record. Squamish also broke a 37-year-old record from the amount of rain that fell on August 15th by recording 35.8 millimeters of rain. All right, let's take a look at our forecast and whether that rain is going to be sticking around for the future days. But let's start with a quick peek at the fire danger map. We're seeing a lot of that red and orange representing high and extreme fire danger. Now a blue and green, which is a low and very low fire danger across the province, so that's very nice to see. Here we can see for tomorrow we're going to have some more rain in Dease Lake and Terrace with a high of 17 for Terrace and Bella Coola, a chance of thunderstorms in Prince George and a high of 18 and 19 in rain in Victoria for tomorrow. In Metro Vancouver, 21 is our high for Sunday with overcast skies and a bit of scattered showers throughout the day. Monday, it looks like it'll dry up and change to a mix of sun and clouds, continuing with those 20-degree temperatures throughout the week. A new cricket league is set to debut in Vancouver this fall. It will feature top international players. And as Saurabh Sandhu reports, event organizers hope it will further boost the sport, which has recently seen a surge in popularity in Canada.
Pretend like you have 2 huge giant baseball mitts in your hand.
Former international cricketer Liam Plunkett is demonstrating how to catch a cricket ball to these young players.
Big frog hands.
Plunkett, who was part of England's 2019 World Cup winning team, is in Surrey this weekend for TD Young Wickets Cricket Clinic, a program introducing the game of cricket to communities across Canada.
We want the kids to come and see something for the first time, really enjoy it, take a little gift away, which is a cricket set, go home, show their parents, show their friends and play in the garden.
The clinic teaches kids the fundamentals of cricket.
There's so much potential to grow cricket in Canada, and that really starts by doing that at the grassroots level, by exposing kids to how fun and engaging and inclusive it is.
The sport has made strides in Canada with multiple leagues popping up in recent years. Plunkett says the momentum is drawing in top talent from cricket-playing nations.
Having people you can aspire to watch people on TV, and then you can come to a camp like these and meet the professional players.
This fall, Vancouver is set to host Canada Super 60 at BC Place. The new cricket league plays a unique 10-over-a-side format with both men and women's competitions.
Very thrilling, very exciting, especially for sports fans who are newer to cricket.
It's only an hour and a half game.
It is a great blend of entertainment and cricket. So there will be music, there will be sport, there will be a lot of big hits. Anyone who is new to cricket, I would say that, have you seen anyone hitting 4 home runs in a row?
The tournament, which will feature 6 teams, will take place October 8th to 13th. Arora says it will be the first time in North America the game is being played inside an indoor stadium.
This is a huge opportunity for North America to raise their hand, especially on the West Coast, where we have not seen a lot of cricket action.
He says with BC's large South Asian population, he's confident the sport will continue to grow. Saurabh Sandhu, CBC News, Surrey.
Vancouver hosted the first Women's National Basketball Association regular season game outside the U.S. Friday. The city does not have a WNBA team of its own, but the game comes at a time when the landscape for women's professional sports in Canada appears to be changing. Take a look.
The first regular season game that is held outside of the U.S., so it's such a historic first for us, and the city of Vancouver is such a special place for us, and we're really excited to be here. As you can see, the fans have really wrapped themselves around the game.
Enjoying the game so much. My friends and I, they drove from Kamloops to Vancouver to watch the game and to support Gabby. So go Seattle Storms!
We're basketball heavy here in BC, baby. Yeah, we can do it.
The players are very talented and very beautiful, so that's enough to make me watch.
I flew my aunt here from Prince Edward Island for 5,700 kilometers away to come to this game. Bucket list. It's our bucket list. She has a sign that says bucket list.
I think Vancouver and all Canadians have this very close community when it comes to sports, so I think that everyone would definitely come together to support a local team.
The atmosphere was brilliant. There were over 15,000 fans at Rogers Arena, and it just felt like everybody was there not only to support the WNBA, but also to see professional women athletes. So it was a really energetic crowd.
We have incredible Canadian talent in the WNBA. We have Bridget Carlton, Letitia Ammer, Aaliyah Edwards, and so I think we were expecting the fans to come out and cheer. Our viewership of the WNBA has actually, the regular season games have doubled over the past 5 years. So I think the momentum for women's sports is just incredible. If you are a fan of the WNBA in Canada, our office just launched the first international WNBA Canada social handle. Follow it, buy our merch, support competitive, amazing athletes that we have, and support the WNBA.
A day after Donald Trump met with Russia's president about Ukraine, he has now invited Vladimir Zelensky to Washington for a meeting. But the Ukrainian president says he will not give up any more land for peace. That's next. Stay with us. Unconfirmed reports in Washington are adding to the speculation that Donald Trump will pressure Ukraine into making concessions to Russia for peace. They say Ukraine's president has been told Russia is offering to freeze most current front lines if Ukraine gives up an eastern region. It follows the controversial Alaska meeting between Trump and Vladimir Putin. The CBC's Lindsay Duncombe looks at the fallout so far.
Well, the summit here in Anchorage, Alaska is over, and there is no ceasefire, no deal. And Ukraine and countries around the world are trying to figure out what U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin said to each other and what that conversation could mean for prospects for peace in Ukraine. Here's the latest. Donald Trump has changed his mind about what he ultimately wants. He now says he wants a permanent peace agreement instead of a temporary ceasefire. Vladimir Putin is back in Russia. He held a news conference for reporters there and called the Alaskan summit successful. And Vladimir Zelensky is saying that he is actually going to be in Washington on Monday. Ahead of that meeting, nations who support Ukraine are having a call tomorrow. Now, the perpetual sticking point seems to be what will happen in the Donbass region. Russia wants full control of the region. Ukraine has said that's not going to happen. All of this playing out as Donald Trump is facing pointed domestic criticism about what happened here, that he welcomed Putin warmly and that not much happened as a result. That criticism will not play well with the president, who says he's a deal maker, a peacemaker, and believes he deserves the Nobel Peace Prize. Lindsay Duncombe, CBC News, Anchorage.
Local officials in northern Pakistan say more than 300 people are now confirmed dead after 2 days of torrential rain. There were flash floods and landslides, trees were uprooted, and buildings were in ruins. More people are missing. Among the dead were 5 crew members of a helicopter that crashed flying in relief supplies. It's the latest in a string of disasters in a monsoon rain season that's been extreme across the region. Here we have a live shot of Canby Street and BC Place in downtown Vancouver. When we return, how a bull on the loose forced the closure of a major highway in Abbotsford. More than 1,000 backpacks filled with school supplies, clothing, and food were handed out to students in need as families get ready for back to school.
So in September, when school starts, they'll be ready to go and they won't need to think about, getting backpacks, or because I know a lot of kids here are struggling financially, and the families as well. So my job here is to provide each kid a backpack and just bring a smile to them.
City Dream Center hosted the event at Kwantlen Park Secondary School in Surrey. There was also a pop-up clothing shop, free haircuts, and kids' activities. The organization says it aims to give children the tools they need to thrive in school as more families struggle with the high cost of living. Well, you might find this next story amusing if you were not stuck in traffic because of it. A stretch of Highway 11 in Abbotsford was temporarily shut down earlier today due to a bull on the loose. That's him right there, probably looking for a new field to explore. Police officers say they worked with the owner of the bull to resolve the situation. Drivers were asked to avoid the area to allow emergency vehicles access. The bull was tranquilized by a local veterinarian and is uninjured. Highway 11 was fully reopened in both directions around 2 p.m. this afternoon. That is your late news for this Saturday. Thanks so much for watching. For news at any time, head to our website at cbc.ca/BC. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.